Stephanie Milky here, aka KetoMOM, or often called mom, sis, Steffi, daughter, wife, aunt, and friend. Just like many of you, I carry a lot of titles. My favorite title is mom. I should probably say wife, which takes a lot of my time. But let's be honest, if you want to do something and do it well, you will make the time for it. Commitment is hard because we find ourselves overcommitted, but when you practice prioritizing, you will find out what is actually important and what you can let go. With the KetoMOM podcast, you will learn together how to manage our time, commit to the most important things in life, and I will equip you with the tools you need to feel qualified each step of the way. My name is Stephanie Milky, and welcome to the KetoMOM Secrets podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the KetoMOM page. My name is Stephanie, and I actually have a thought for you today. Not out of a book. We're not going through a book yet, but I want to give you a thought to take with you into your day, into the rest of your weekend. And as we end this year and dive into a new year, I honestly believe that if this is one thing you think about, you actually take time to think about this. I believe it can change your entire life. So before we dive into that, where are you tuning in from? And a happy Friday if you're tuning in live. I would love to know where you're tuning in from. And you guys, you want to know something so cool? So I was sitting this morning reading my Bible and, just doing my morning routine. And then my husband and I got up, we went for a walk, and we saw something so beautiful. This lady whipped her car around the corner this morning, slammed on her brakes, got out of her car right in front of the garbage men that were taking out our garbage because today's garbage day. And we could see we were probably like a block away. So we could see she was saying something to the men. And my husband was like, she just blessed them. Like she gave them money for Christmas. And you could kind of hear her and she was excited. And he's like, I think she just stopped right in front of the garbage truck and said, Merry Christmas. And she gave them money. And then we got closer, you could see the garbage men were happy, and we were like, that's so cool. And then she whipped her car around, and we actually have met her one time as we were walking around we live in a development. And so we've met her on our walk before. We had a conversation with her and her husband, and she was like, good morning. She pulled right alongside of us, and we were like, good morning. And my husband said, did you just bless those men for Christmas? And she goes, I do it every year. I try to track them down wherever they're at, and I want them to have a good Christmas. And I was like, that was amazing. It was so fun to see that this morning. Just her joy and her love. And she didn't do it expecting any of us to see it. We just were blessed to get to see her bless somebody else. And so she was so full of joy, and she just is so sweet. This is the second time I've gotten to talk to her, and I thought, wow, what if more of us went around, not just during this season? Like, this is a season that brings people, I get that this is a hard season for some people due to loss and due to just, there's a lot of things. This also is a season that also makes people go, I should give, and how can I serve, and what can I bless people with? And I thought, man, how can we take that with us into the new year? So that was my first experience this morning. Oh my goodness. I was like overjoyed that I just got to watch it. And then I went, who am I going to bless? Like, how can I bring joy? You guys, they drove by us, the garbage men, and they had this smile on their face. They were just so touched and so blessed. So I wanted to share that with you this morning. And then as I was sitting downstairs this morning, reading and talking to my husband, he was listening to something. So I don't know exactly what he was listening to, because I was trying to read my own thing, but I couldn't help listen to whoever he's listening to right now. He's doing his thing and I was reading, and maybe I'll have to share this video. I don't know all of it, but all I know is this. I have a couple questions for you. I want to give the questions to you. And if you take this seriously, if you take this one thing seriously in your own life, I 100% believe this can change your entire life. And in fact, that's what this man said. He said, if you take this one thing I'm about to ask you to heart, and then you actually work on this one thing, it will change your life forever. And so I was reading and I went like this. Well, what is he going to say? What's going to change my life forever? I believe that spiritually, there's things that will change my life forever, right? But what is this man going to say? So I put down my book for a second, what I was reading. And he said, and listen, this isn't a new concept. Like if you've ever read the book, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill has 2 incredible books, Think and Grow Rich and Outwitting the Devil. Both of those books, I believe, will change your life. It's about what you think about. There's some different masterminds that I've been in that talk about the power of your thinking. And I've heard all of this said for years. And then for whatever reason, the way that he said it this morning, it like took me to the next level of, oh yeah, he's right. Like, so I'm going to ask you a couple questions, or I'm going to say some statements. I would encourage, so as he was saying some statements, I actually grabbed a Post-it note and I was writing some things down because I'm going to have these conversations with my kids this morning, as soon as I'm done talking to you. So I wrote down on my Post-it notes, I wrote down, think about what you're thinking about. It's not a new concept. I've learned this from Pastor Keith Kraft, Erwin McManus, Craig Groeschel, Think and Grow Rich, Outwitting the Devil, books and people that I've listened to for years and years and years, right? And so I want you just to think about this today. As you're going throughout your day, think about what you're thinking about. Actually, I would encourage you to just write down the thoughts that come into your mind and what consumes you. What consumes your mind? Is it things of joy? Is it things of love? Is it things of anxiety and worry? All I want you to do is think about what you're thinking about. Make a note, grab a Post-it note, write it down like, oh, hey, here are my thoughts today. Here are my thoughts today. So that's number 1. My first Post-it note says, think about what you're thinking about. On my second note, it says, thoughts become things. Your thoughts become things. What does that mean? So if you think about what you're thinking about and you write it down so you can visually go, okay, I didn't realize I was in such a negative state. Or like that lady that was so joyful today, from what I saw from her, she was thinking about how to bless people today. And you could see it in her face, right? So thoughts become things. So that was my second Post-it note. Third Post-it note. What are you thinking about? So different question, same thing. Thoughts become things. What are you thinking about? My next note says, as a man thinketh in his heart, that's not it. I wrote kind of sloppy. A man is what he thinks about all day long. You guys, they're kind of the same questions. Whatever resonates with you and whichever you catch, I would encourage you to write these down. Think about what you're thinking about. Thoughts become things. What are you thinking about? A man is what he thinks about all day long. What are you thinking about? If you tune me out, listen, it's not going to change your life. If you actually take this to heart, I 100% believe this will change your life. Okay? My next Post-it note says, how do you become what you think? So he was explaining that your mind is like a field, right? So you have a field. And what do you do in the field? So this man was explaining it to this morning that I wasn't intending to listen to, but I couldn't help but listen to it because my husband, who just popped on, was playing this. And so I was like, babe, I'm reading my Bible. But I couldn't tune out what he was saying. And so he said, your mind is like a field, right? And you plant seeds in your field every single day, every day. And he goes, guess what? The field doesn't care what you plant. The field doesn't care. But you reap what you plant. So what are you planting in your mind? What are you watching? What are you listening to? Are you planting thoughts of anxiety and worry and fear and frustration and anger? Or are you planting the seeds in your mind of like hope and love and believing for the best? Like what you think about are the thoughts that get planted into your mind. Your mind is not going like, Your thoughts, your field isn't going to just go, hey, that's negative unless you choose for it to. It's going to implant all of those things that you're watching, listening to, believing, letting other people say into you, and it's being planted into your field. What are you allowing to be planted? So what you plant will return. It's what you reap, what you sow. Does this make sense? Man, you guys, I know this. And for whatever reason this morning I went like this, what have I been believing for? There's a couple health things that I have, and not major things in my life, but things that I have been experiencing in my own life. And I was sitting there thinking, have I done that to myself? Have I been worrying about lack? Have I been feeling lack? Have I been worrying? Has my mind gone to this place of worry and frustration more than looking at who is my provider or looking at the excitement of life? I have been sitting in this place of looking at more of the negative than the positive. I have been frustrated with certain things in our life, and I have been allowing it to affect my mind and my field and my body is reacting to those thoughts. Isn't that crazy? Your body will react to your field. It was just interesting. So the last thing I wrote down, it's in Proverbs 23:7. It's in the Bible. And as a man thinketh in his heart, so he becomes. Heart and your mind. So I just thought, man, it was so powerful. And if you allow your life and your mind to spiral out of control, and if you don't think about something, that's what you get. If you don't think about anything and you're like, listen, I don't know, that's what you get, right? If you are constantly focused on the negative, that's what you're going to get. If you can get yourself in a place and if you can get yourself in this space where you're like, so I said, how do I get these negative and anger and frustration? How do I get this out of my life? So I was just sitting there going, who am I frustrated with? I thought about it. I know what I'm frustrated about. Am I thinking about that a majority of the day? Or can I go, what am I going to believe for in that space? I know that I'm frustrated with this area of my life. Is there a possibility for me to believe? And can I physically see? And can I plant a new seed in my mind to believe that space is going to become better? Yes. What does that look like? It's a vision board. It is me actually asking the Lord and going, all right, I'm going to believe that situation and that circumstance and that space in my life is going to get better. How do I do that? I need to get up in the morning intentionally. My husband doesn't even know this, but he's clearly watching. Today, we were going to talk to our kids about thinking. He's got some videos they're going to watch for our school. And then today has to be the day that we finalize our vision boards and we get them down, we print them out, we write them out, because I have to get up in the morning and I have to believe and plant the seeds that I want to see and reap in my life. If I get up in the morning and I say I'm going to do it, but I don't actually do it, those seeds aren't planted. I allow other people to plant their seeds in my life, and I cannot do that anymore. So if I want different in my life, I have to go, what do I want? I have to believe it's possible, and then I have to intentionally sit for a moment and see it. I need to see the difference in this space. I need to believe for the difference in this space. I need to write it down. I need to look at it. I need to believe for it, and I need to just plant those seeds. I need to think what I'm thinking about. And if it's negative, I cannot allow that to be planted into my mind, or that is what's going to grow, right? Right. I'm sorry, I was reading some of your comments. So, man, your mind is so powerful. And listen, it's so funny. It's so funny. And the last thing I'm going to say is this. I talk to people about their health and fitness all the time. I can give you what to eat, how to eat, drink water, move your body. I believe if you don't have your mindset right, like none of that matters. And there's so much noise and there's so many people talking online and everything seems so contradictive, right? And so it's so funny because I was reading my Bible, we went for a walk, I was like listening to my husband, and all of a sudden I was drawn into what he was listening to. And then I went on Instagram because I saw my friend Kelly had messaged me. And then as soon as I swiped up, a new video popped up, a reel, 30 seconds, right? This 30-second reel of this man talking about health. So I tuned in for a second because I wanted to know what he was going to say, right? And he said something totally contradictory to what I preach. Not preach, I'm sorry, not preaching, but like what I teach people to do for their health and fitness, like meals and what your meal should look like. And for a second, I watched him and I was like, why is he saying that? Why is he saying that? Because he has a blue check mark. And because, he's got thousands and thousands of followers. So he made a pretty bold statement about certain people in the world and how they're healthier than these certain people. And he made a pretty bold statement about how these people eat this and this and this, and they live 7 years longer than everybody else, right? So he made this statement and I was like, that's weird. Why did he say that? And then he had all these comments. So I clicked on the comments. You guys, it took me 2 minutes to do this. And I read his comments, and a majority of the comments were from people that lived in that country, and they were like, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's not how we eat. That's not the reason. And I thought for a second, how often we get so confused and so frustrated because there's so much noise. And then we watch somebody and we're like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And then somebody else pops up and for 30 seconds, it's completely different. And then you're like, wait, now I have to do that. And then all of a sudden we go, I don't even know what to do. There's so many contradictory things that people are telling me. Somebody says, if I want to lose the weight, I need to go run more. Somebody says, if I want to go lose the weight, I need to cut all of my food and cut calories. I've got some people injecting themselves with needles and losing weight. And some people are like, intermittent fasting is great. Other people, like this man's like, listen, the healthiest people in the world are eating breakfast and a smaller dinner, and they're the healthiest. And they're online going, no, I'm not. We're not. I live in this country. And all I want to say is this, like, you're going to be so bombarded because, listen, we live in a world of crazy amount of technology and voices, and I 100%, and you can even tune me out, right? I'm going to tell you from what I 100% believe. If your spiritual life isn't in a great space, and if you are constantly in a state of worry, loneliness, sadness, frustration, I'm going to tell you right now, I 100% believe if you do not have a relationship with Jesus, you don't have your own spiritual walk, you're going to sit in that space probably for the rest of your life. Outside of that, if you sit in this worry, anxiety, frustration, watching the news, watching this new crazy movie that came out, they're people saying crazy things about our world, you're going to live in that space for the rest of your life. So why wouldn't you want to go, okay, I need to control my thoughts. I need to believe that things are possible. I need to get out the ugly noise, the hurtful noise, the anxiety noise, if I'm following somebody and they create this, don't you ever get that gut feeling, that intuition? You can say it's gut, Holy Spirit, whatever it is. Don't you ever get that feeling of I don't know if that's right. I need to figure that out. If it causes you to be anxious or worried, you should probably shut it off, right? There are things that can bring you joy, music. There are environments and people that you're going to listen to that will they should make you go, yeah, I want that. I want to believe things can get better. How do I do that? Starts with your mind. So here's what I would encourage you to do. Write these questions down, or just write the statement. Think about what you're thinking about today. Take note, take journal. What is going on in your mind, right? Thoughts become things. Write that down. right? The weeds will take over, Crystal, 100% in your field, and you've got to pull them out. What are you thinking about? A man is what he thinks about all day long. What is consuming your mind? And where is it coming from? You become what you think about. Your mind is the field. So picture that. And what seeds are you planting in it? And what you plant, you will reap, right? The field isn't going to tell you what to, well, you need to tell yourself, but like the field doesn't care. It's going to harvest. You're going to reap a harvest of whatever is being planted. Oh, it's so good. Are you planting a seed? Like that lady today that I told you in the beginning of this live. She was full of joy. And she was planting a seed of hope in those men that were picking up our garbage. So not only are you planting seeds in your own mind, you can choose to bless other people, or the words that come out of your mouth will plant seeds in other people's mind. Do not be a person that plants fear or doubt or worry or frustration. So while you're working on your thinking, watch your words. And if you can't say something that's going to plant a seed of hope in somebody's life, then don't say it. Don't say it. So as you dive into this weekend, and you're probably around family, and maybe you're like, listen, it's about to be crazy. I get it. What if you thought to yourself, I'm going to be the person this weekend and into this end of this year, going into the new year, where I get to plant seeds of hope in myself. I'm going to start plucking out the negative. I'm going to decide what I'm going to believe for in 2024. And I'm also going to be a hope dealer for other people. And you might go, but Stephanie, you don't know my family. It is about to be a crazy roller coaster. Listen, don't be that negative person that spirals out of control at the Christmas party or the Christmas gathering, your family gathering. Like, shut your mouth. Listen to people. Like, try to figure out how you can bring hope and joy into that. If they've talked about their entire negativity over this whole year, encourage them. Love them. That's what you get to do as you dive into the holiday season, holiday weekend. So I want to say thank you for tuning in. Your presence matters. I hope that this can help you, because I believe that your mindset is the number one thing you get to work on. And guess what? I can help you with food. I can tell you how much water to drink. I will 100% say, probably not the best option for food. Here's a better option. But I 100%, if you don't believe you can lose the weight, if you don't believe you can feel better, if you don't believe your body can be healed, if you don't see yourself losing the weight, feeling that sense of joy over yourself, whatever it is, you're not going to achieve it. So let's start with this, and then we can work on everything else together as we dive into the new year. So thanks for tuning in. Your presence matters. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.